Hi, it's Scott ROCKFILE back with another podcast review. Been waiting to watch this one. Let's talk about 1922's Häxan. This Swedish silent film from 1922, directed by Benjamin Christensen, is one of the creepiest things I've ever watched. I saw this as a kid on PBS in Atlanta. They showed it one Halloween. It's a 1922 silent film with some music behind it. It's been re-edited multiple times, like in the 60s. There's a 74-minute version that William S. Burroughs narrates. It's called Witchcraft Through Time or something like that. Actually, this special edition that's out on Radiance Films has multiple editions and so many extras. If you've never seen the film, what Benjamin Christensen was trying to do back in the day was combine a bit of meticulous recreation of medieval scenes with part of it being documentary, part of it being a movie, part of it being surreal. And these are some of the most iconic visions you will ever see. Like, these will stick in your head for years to come. It got great reviews in Denmark and Sweden, but censors in other countries have over the years kind of, banned it many times. Like I said, it's been re-edited into movies called Witchcraft Through the Ages and things like that. But the original Häxan is about an hour and 45 minutes, and it's one of the weirdest things you will ever see. It was done with everything they could do back in 1922. The biggest sets, the best costumes, the best cameras. It really is a work of art from that perspective. This director had built up a career of making movies that had become very popular in the earliest days of movies in Sweden. And to get this one out, and that it stood the test of time with the imagery. It's got witches and demons and all sorts of stuff, and they're little vignettes, but it almost feels like you're getting a documentary camera into some of these weird black magic rituals. Obviously, watching a silent movie from 1922 is not the creepiest thing ever, but it's the imagery and what it signifies. To give you an example, one of the things I learned in watching it, there's these shots that these demons kind of appear in the background, and they're all churning butter. You don't know why they're churning butter. Why are they churning butter? Well, that goes back to the 1700s. Butter was considered a sin because it was so rich and delicious, and that's even worked into the movie The Witch. You want to live deliciously, and the whole thing about butter is in there. So they had the demons churning butter because, one, that's a sin, and one, they're not really churning butter. It is exactly what you think they're doing. This movie had a little bit of nudity, it had a little bit of violence, but it's skirting the line between film, documentary, and something else. It's not like anything else. It stood the test of time. So this Radiance edition, you get the original version of the movie and you get the Witchcraft Through the Ages version of the movie and a lot of extras. There is an extra with one of the guys who worked on it in Sweden talking about it in the 60s. It's like an 8-minute introduction about what the movie is really about. There's a big thing with an interview with Guillermo del Toro. He's talking about how influential this movie was and how just the imagery alone will stick in your head and give you visions, for years to come. There's some other extras on there, some essays. That's all on disc 1. Disc 2 is like 4 other versions of the movie, different edits that were done over the years in different aspect ratios and different soundtracks. There's a version with Jean-Luc Ponty, the version with William S. Burroughs. The music doesn't really fit the thing, but it's this weird jazz soundtrack with William S. Burroughs talking about it. So you get like 4, 5, 6 versions of the movie and all the extras. I think I got the Blu-ray for about $17. The movie looks great. This is the current edition. That, matter of fact, there was an edition a year before this that went out of print that's going on sale for about $60 now. So get this version because it has all those extras brought over. Radiance, I like how they do stuff. I like their slipcovers, how the details, you open it up, they give you all the details on what's in the on each disc broken down and how long. Companies like Arrow and Radiance do that. They will tell you how long a special feature is, where a lot of the U.S. companies don't. They just go, here's a special feature, and you start watching it. You don't know if it's 8 minutes or 30 minutes. But at least with some of these companies, especially Radiance, you can see it'll say this is 8 minutes long, this is 12 minutes long, this is 20 minutes long, that kind of thing. And again, the 4 different versions of the movie on the second disc. And I got to be honest, I didn't watch them yet. I watched the original version because I don't know that I'd ever seen that. Then I watched the Witchcraft Through the Ages version, which was shorter. And I did turn on some commentary some of the time. I watched most of the extras. This is an incredible package for under $20. This is not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but if you ever saw this as a kid, it's stuck in your head. if you've ever seen it as an adult. It's stuck in your head. The images of the witches and the demons and the things that they're doing and the dancing around. And it's all done in that old silent style, kind of sped up and weird looking. The whole thing just feels weird, like it's a window into this old time. So I would highly recommend this if you're into classic films or you've ever seen this or wanted to see it. This Radiance edition that came out earlier this summer is a really fantastic edition because you get all the extras, all the different versions of the movie, and it's definitely worth watching in modern times. If you're a fan of horror films, a lot of horror films got stuff from this film. Again, it's a 1922 silent film made in Sweden, so your mileage may vary depending on that, but I think it's one of the creepiest things I've ever watched. The extras are unbelievably encompassing, just give you so much information, so much more that I've actually watched some of the extras twice because there's just a lot to take in about early filmmaking in Denmark, Sweden, and that kind of stuff, about cameras, about lighting, about the sets. I mean, there is a wealth, an embarrassment of riches of extras on this edition of Häxan. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Häxan, Häxan. Anyway, it's about witchcraft and demons, and it's all kind of told from the perspective of old Victorian times and 15th century stuff brought into, well, something a little more modern and weird back in 1922. Pick up the Radiance edition if you're really interested, because you will learn a lot about cinema, about horror films, about people's beliefs back in the day, about witch burnings in the 1800s and things like that. And there is a wealth of information in this set besides just all the different versions of the movie. So my highest recommendation, one of the best discs of the year, is Häxan from Radiance Films, and it's a perfect one to watch on Halloween. I'm Scott, I'm ROCKFILE. Thanks for checking out another podcast. More on the way. Please like, share, and subscribing is very important, and have a spectacular day.